Councilwoman Faatz.
Thank you, Madam President. Ironically, although I make the motion, I do have some comments about the budget. It's been a difficult budget year for all of us. Those of us here on council, with the administration, and certainly those people who are in the audience or listening have also gone through some tough times. I am not reluctant to make cuts, and I know that the cuts that are needed to be made. However, I do believe in one overriding principle. The existing revenues must be used toward the highest priorities. For the city's general fund, and my comments will be directed primarily to the general fund, that means using the money for city services. While the vast majority of this budget meets this standard, the severity of the budget reductions means to me there is no room to siphon off general fund money for pet projects. During our budget deliberations, I pointed out $4 million being siphoned off for purposes I can't justify in tight times. I thank the mayor for restoring a little over $1 million to appropriate city services. However, there is still nearly $3 million being diverted. This amount equates to 3 furlough days, about half the concessions asked of the police department, reductions in many city services, and the list goes on and on of what you could use to equate it to. And what is the money being spent on? Well, let me mention just a few. The first one is probably the one that concerns me the most. While a dedicated mill levy exists for human service needs, and people do pay that on their property taxes separately, the administration insists on dipping into the general fund for yet more homeless services, above and beyond numerous other sources being put toward Denver's road home. We're using community development block grant, stimulus funding, there's specific grants, contributions. It goes on, and yet we're still taking money out of the general fund, and that's not usual. $500,000 general fund dollars is being diverted to lend to one already identified group that will buy up land and hold it for years. Land speculation along transit corridors for affordable housing. City General Fund doesn't need to partially fund this project. I believe this should be a role for nonprofits and private investors. Yet still more general fund money is providing subsidies to a few favorite businesses. We should be promoting an attractive business climate for all businesses, not picking favorites and engaging in special deals for special folks. I want to stress the very small portion of the budget I'm objecting to. In general fund expenditures of $855 million, I'm talking about up to $3 million. You're talking about, well, it's approximately 0.4% of a budget, so very, very small. But because that money would have gone a long way to alleviate some of the layoffs, some of the remaining service reductions, or some of the employee sacrifices, I feel I must object to funding these pet projects over sticking to job one, core city services. That's why I'll be voting no on the budget tonight.